Thank you for existing. Don't come to me. That was the message my father sent on Christmas Eve. No explanation, just 6 dry words, like a final seal of rejection. I was sitting on my bedroom floor, legs crossed, staring at the screen as if maybe time would soften the message, make it less cruel. Everyone else was there, my parents, my sister, celebrating like a happy, complete family. And I was once again the outsider. I'd been out for a year and a half, covering rent, food, bills. My sister Esther had lost her job, or so she said, and while she was getting her life together, I paid every expense in silence, without complaining. Because that's what family does, right? That night, just before she left for dinner with our parents, she threw her coat over her shoulder, adjusted a front curl in the mirror, and paused at the door. "Oh, in case they ask," she said, "I told them you're just occupying the floor. You know, since your name's not on the lease." She didn't say it like a joke. She said it like a fact. I looked up from the dishes I was washing, hands frozen in soapy water. "You told them that?" She rolled her eyes. "Relax. It's not a big deal. I just didn't want them to think I'm letting you live here for free." "That's easier." "But I'm paying the rent," I said quietly, but firmly. "Yeah, well, they don't need to know that." She left before I could respond. I didn't write back. I didn't call. I didn't try to explain myself. Instead, I sat at the kitchen table, staring at the cheap string lights I'd put up weeks ago, wondering how many more years I'd keep doing this, paying for people who had already decided I didn't belong. At midnight, I made a decision. I got up, opened the hallway closet, pulled out the toolbox, and changed the locks. No hesitation. No guilt. When I lay back down, the apartment felt lighter, calmer, even. Maybe for the first time. The next morning, around 8:17 a.m., I heard the sound of keys fumbling in the lock, a click, a curse, another click. Then pounding. Fists. Then silence. I didn't open the door. But I did leave something behind, 2 boxes, wrapped like presents, resting neatly on the doormat. One medium-sized, tied with a perfect bow. The other smaller, still moving. It all started with small things, groceries, then rent, then student loans. She said she'd pay me back. When she got fired again, I didn't ask questions. I just picked up extra shifts, sold my old laptop, gave up trips, hobbies, even dating. I convinced myself it was temporary. Helping my sister stay afloat was what a good brother would do. But temporary turned into routine. Routine turned into obligation. Obligation turned into silence. Because what do you say to someone who lets you pay all their bills, then tells your parents you're just crashing at their place? I should have seen it coming. Esther always had a way with words. She knew how to twist things just enough to become the victim and turn me into the problem. As a child, she cried to get away with anything. As an adult, she cried to empty every wallet around her, especially our parents. To them, she was the creative soul, a bit chaotic, but with a good heart. Meanwhile, I was too serious, too cold. But cold is what you become when love comes with conditions. I stopped going to family dinners months ago, not because I didn't want to see them, but because I couldn't fake it anymore. Every conversation was an emotional trap. "You're the stable one. She's just going through a tough time. She has such a delicate soul. Why do you always have to be so difficult?" The truth? I was tired. Tired of paying for everyone. Tired of being the only adult in the room. Tired of waking up in an apartment I paid for, just to be told I was a burden. 3 weeks before Christmas, something cracked inside me. We were in the living room. I'd just finished a 12-hour shift. I brought food for both of us and placed it on the table. Esther didn't even look up from her phone. "Can you send me a bison for dinner?" she said casually. I blinked. "You mean the dinner I just bought, with my card? My money? While you haven't paid rent in 3 months?" She shrugged, thumb still tapping her screen. "Yeah, but you decided to do it." "I didn't ask you." "You've been asking me all year," I said, finally looking her in the eye. "No one forced you." And that's when I realized. She never felt guilty. She wasn't using me out of desperation. She was using me because I allowed it. A week later, I saw the credit card statement. Not mine, hers. Or what should have been hers. The problem? The account was in my name. I sat on the edge of my bed, heart pounding, staring at the balance, €638.72. Purchases from Primer. Media Market. El Corte Inglés. A spa. A tattoo reservation. I called the company. They confirmed it had been opened with my ID and my email. She'd stolen my identity. I didn't confront her. Not at first. I watched. Tracked. Took screenshots. I saw her walk through the apartment in new boots and an Apple Watch, laughing on FaceTime with her friends. Calling me my idiot brother, as if I wasn't just a few feet away. I have planned to wait until New Year's. Maybe even February. Let it all build up. But then Christmas came. And my father's message. Thank you for existing. Don't come. That night, Esther sipped wine and smirked. I mean, you can't expect to be seen as family if you act like a tenant. You don't belong. So I changed the locks. And left her the gifts I'd originally bought for her, because I'm not cruel. And added a third box. Inside, a copy of the credit card statement, her name written in red marker, and a USB stick with audio recordings, clips of her bragging to her friends. In one, she laughed and said, honestly, he deserves it. He's like a bank with no fees. Why wouldn't I take advantage? The box shook slightly, because my phone was inside, set to vibrate, with a scheduled alarm. I wanted her to feel what I had felt for a year. Confusion. Instability. Tension. I was in the kitchen reheating leftovers when the banging began. They weren't knocks, they were fists, pounding like someone trying to break the door down. What surprised me wasn't that she came back. It was how calm I felt. I opened the door slowly. There she stood, hair a mess, eyeliner smudged, rage written across her face. What is this? She screamed, lifting the silver box that still buzzed like a bomb. I tilted my head. A Christmas gift. She opened it. Stared at the contents, printouts of messages where she called me a parasite, a paycheck with legs. A flash drive labeled, for Dad, play this if you still have a spine. A sticky note, folded neatly, that said, your contract has ended. Emotionally, and in every way. She turned to me, eyes wide. You don't have a heart. I didn't reply. I was just tired. At that moment, my phone rang. I answered on speaker. Son, what's going on? Your sister told us what you did. That was cruel. What happened to family? I laughed. You mean the family that told me not to come for Christmas? That wasn't about you, he snapped. You've been cold. You isolate. You told me not to come, I interrupted. And guess what? I listened. Esther grabbed the phone from Dad's hands. He's crazy. He changed the locks. He's harassing me. Oh please, I said, taking the phone back. Why don't you tell them what's really in that box? There was silence. And then, I continued with a firm voice. Dad, do you know who has been using my name to open credit accounts? Do you know who has a debt of $638.72 under my identity? Silence. Then Raphael spoke, that's true. Esther didn't shout, it is inventing, just wants to call the attention. So why does Kaisa Madrid have its email linked to mine? Why does she have my number, my ID? I said, why are there receipts of stores where she buys in my name? There was no response, and I just continued walking to the shelf and taking out a little black speaker. This, I pressed play. His voice filled the room, clear as water. It's so easy to manipulate her. She always feels guilty. I could burn the apartment, and she would still pay my mobile bill. His face lost all its color. That is taken out of context, he said. I really arched an eyebrow. And in what context is that said? Raphael deserves to suffer? He remained silent. She also. The whole world stayed still. And then came a soft knock. Unexpectedly, I opened the door. It was Veronica, and behind her, Tomas, Esther's ex-boyfriend. Esther, Tomas started, I need to talk to you, he said, with both of their voices trembling, but not from fear, from rage. I just found out, he said, looking at me directly, that someone has also been using my name. 2 online orders last month, a hotel booked. Today, they called me in my name to claim payment. He turned to Esther. It was you. She opened her mouth, then closed it. Reopened. Why would I do that? Tomas looked down at the box on the table, the pendrive, the printed catches, the speaker still glowing red. I think you should go, he said. Now. What did she do? Did she jump? Did she stay? Here, said Tomas, entering. My nerves tensed. Here how? I asked. Here, he said, looking at me, if you let me stay a few days. I think both of us have been victims of the same person, and maybe it's time to stop playing her game. Esther blinked, as if someone had slapped her. Are you taking her side? I'm sick of taking the side of liars. She stood still, for the first time in her life, without a script, without tears, pretended emotions, with no one left to manipulate. Only silence. Don't worry, I said, throwing her coat from the chair, your things are in the hallway, right next to the trash. Can you guess which is which? She left, without a scene, without threats, just the sound of her footsteps walking away through the hallway, and the elevator closing. The morning after Esther left, the silence in my apartment no longer felt empty, it felt deserved. I was standing in the kitchen with a cup of reheated coffee in hand, watching the steam rise in lazy spirals. I was hoping to feel guilty, maybe regret. But there was nothing. Not a knot in the chest, no doubts, just peace. Tomas was still sleeping on the couch, snoring gently under a blanket that I threw to him the night before. He didn't say much after Esther left. He just nodded, murmured finally, and fell asleep. But when he woke up, he opened the laptop on the table and raised an eyebrow. Already working? I'm getting my money, I replied. He sat up, rubbing his face. What are you going to do? Denounce, more than that. I turned the screen toward him. This is going to be official. Step 1, the complaint. I had already started collecting evidence the same night that Esther left. I had folders, physical folders, full of documentation, bank statement screenshots, login records by IP, account histories, and receipts for every purchase made in my name. I filed a formal complaint for identity theft with the National Police and opened files with all the financial institutions involved. Caixa Madrid was the first to respond. They blocked the account and opened a full fraud investigation. On Friday, my cell phone vibrated with an email confirmation, full refund approved, €638.72. I leaned back in my chair, exhaling for the first time in days. But it wasn't over. 18 months of paying for 2 people, rent €950 per month, utilities €180, half a supermarket €400, her emergencies ranging from €100 to €500, sometimes more. I scrolled and scrolled through the spreadsheet. When I reached the end, my stomach turned, €17,892. Not counting emotional damage. Not counting the weeks I skipped meals or worked double shifts just to keep us afloat. I saved the screenshots, backed them up on a pendrive, and called a lawyer. Step 3, the lawsuit. I'm not here just because she used my credit card, I told the lawyer, I want compensation. She lived off me for more than a year. My parents let her. She was a grown woman, discerning, wore expensive shoes, smiled like she had already won. Do you have proof? He asked. I slid the flash drive across the table. He connected it, clicked, scanned. His eyes widened. You documented everything, every euro. And your parents put you as co-signer on utilities contracts without your consent? I nodded. I found the documents. He whistled softly. This isn't just identity theft, this is long-term financial exploitation. We have a case. He leaned back. We have a very public case. Step 4, the explosion. 3 weeks later, on a rainy Wednesday afternoon, 3 registered letters arrived at my parents' house, one for Esther, one for Veronica, one for Rafael, all from the law firm Serrano and Nieto. 20 minutes later, my phone rang. Caller ID, Mom. I answered. What are you doing? She blurted. Good morning to you too, I replied. Suing, after everything we've done for you? What you have done to me, I corrected. Don't twist it. We're your family. You were also the co-owners on 2 utility bills and added me to a 3rd without permission. That's fraud. It was just paperwork. It was theft. You're exaggerating everything. You told me not to come for Christmas. The line went silent. Then her voice dropped a tone. We raised you, we let you stay here when you needed it. I paid for everything. I was never a guest, I was the provider. Step 5, an ally. 3 days later, my grandmother called me. I hadn't heard from her in months, not since Esther told her, Amelia is tired of your dramas, don't call her anymore. But now, her voice sounded firm. I've seen the lawsuit, she said. And I saw the bank statements. My heart stopped. Did you see the bond? She sighed. Your father got paid more than 9,000 euros from a savings bond one created in your name, and used it to pay for Esther's old car. I sat up suddenly. You didn't know that? He asked. I didn't know that good bonus existed, he said. It no longer exists. I have blocked what was left, and I have moved the account back to you, where it should have always been. I didn't know what to say. Then he added, I have rewritten my will. When it arrives, you will inherit my house. I know what you'll do, the right thing with her. I blinked. Emily, why? I asked. Because, she said, you're the only one who ever asked for nothing, and the only one who kept the receipts. The courtroom was tense as Esther entered, dressed in basics, as if she were auditioning. Veronica was wearing black, and Raphael didn't even look me in the eyes. My lawyer laid it all out, page after page, bank statements, audio recordings, text messages, bank fraud, misuse of powers, false accounts, violations, savings bonds. Esther tried to cry. Veronica alleged with premature fusion. Raphael just seemed exhausted, but the judge wasn't tired. Is it true that you registered your son's name in financial documents without your consent? Asked my mother. I mean, it was family, lady. Yes or no? Silence. Yes. The verdict finally whispered, 13,000 euros. Compensation, cancellation of all debts, fraudulent legal costs covered, and a formal warning on their background. The scene post-credits. 2 weeks later, I received a handwritten letter with no return address. I recognized Esther's handwriting instantly. Happy now? It read. You already made your point. Inside, folded in half, there was a photo of her and me, children sitting under a Christmas tree. I looked at our faces, how she clung to me as if I were the only thing keeping her in balance. I grabbed a pen and, on the back, wrote a single line, you released first, then I burned the photo. It's curious how silence sounds when you've earned it. 3 months after the court ruling, I hadn't received a word from my parents, no messages, no calls, not even a birthday card. And you know what? It was better that way. I had to justify myself no longer. They should understand, it's difficult for your sister to have it no more. You are the stable one. I continued on the same floor, but for the first time, it felt truly mine. A kind of place where you open the fridge and everything inside is yours, not someone else's. No one called to check on you, no one looked over your shoulder, where the air was still, not loaded with tension. The same sofa, the same view from the window, but the silence, the peace, it was completely new. Unknown. Powerful. The cost? Sometimes people ask, wasn't it difficult? Wasn't it cruel to cut off all your family? And my answer is always the same, it was necessary. For so many years, I had been shrinking to fit into their comfort, smiling at their insults, writing checks instead of setting limits, letting them call me selfish for not giving them everything while they gave me nothing but blame. The true cruelty was when I stopped being the obedient son and brother, the generous one. I saw the truth. They didn't throw me out. The least they missed was what I gave them. The message came one afternoon in May. I opened my email and saw a message from a man I didn't recognize. Your sister is not well, the message said. She's a woman named Lorena, apparently an old friend of Esther's. The message was short, cold. She's lost her job again, says you ruined her life. I thought about it for a long time, then pressed delete. Not because I didn't care, but because caring doesn't mean going back. The last meeting, one day, I ran into Raphael at a Repsol gas station. We looked into each other's eyes from opposite sides of the pump. He looked older, smaller, like someone who had finally run out of excuses. He approached slowly, not with anger, but with a strange kind of shame. You look good, he said. I see, he looked down. Your mother is still angry, you know? I was silent. He said, she says you ruined Christmas. I raised an eyebrow. How curious, I said. She started it with "Don't come," and I obeyed. He sighed. Families argue, son. I didn't say anything. Families fight for each other, he added. You fought for Esther, you never fought for me. I didn't have an answer. I just stood there, waiting for him to give me a way to go back. I didn't do it. I entered my car and left, and it felt like peace. This was not revenge. It was freedom. Let me make something clear, this was not revenge. It was not punishment. It was not a crusade to prove I was right, although I had been. This was about letting go. Letting go of a system where love meant transactions, releasing the guilt that was never my responsibility. Letting go of that version of myself that begged to be seen, heard, valued. I didn't set out to destroy my family. I just stopped destroying myself to protect them. People like Esther, who blame and twist everything, survive because others continue to absorb the impact. I stopped absorbing, and all the machinery broke down, not because I broke it, but because I left. And for the first time, my soul felt alive. At the closing, unexpectedly, 2 weeks ago, I received a package with no sender. Inside was a simple envelope, and inside that envelope, a single photograph, me with Noah, Esther's daughter, from years ago. She would have been about 4, sitting on my shoulders, laughing, grabbing my face with her little hands. On the back of the photo, written in shaky handwriting, was, "I'm sorry for how my friend treated you. Thanks for everything. Noah." I stared at those words until they became blurry through my tears. I still don't know how she got my address, maybe my grandmother, maybe fate, but that note made everything worth it. I saved that photo in my drawer now, not because it ties me to the past, but because it reminds me of something important. Walking away doesn't mean stopping loving. It means you start loving yourself more. That's not revenge. That's freedom.